Okay, so they cross over to the land flowing with milk and honey. And in the land, God rules over them as king. He does this through the judges for about 400 years. Then the people begin to clamor for an earthly king, and Samuel says, God, they've rejected me, because he was the last judge. God says, they haven't rejected you, Samuel, they've rejected me as being king over them. An important part of the history of Israel. So he says, I'm going to give you earthly king. He warns them, it's not going to work out well for you. Well, it doesn't. We know about Saul, and then David gets the kingdom, yet God accepts him. So the kingdom stays in the line of David. His son Solomon takes over, and how did he do? Well, people think Solomon was great because he was given wisdom, but Solomon was a lawbreaker for sure, and God rejects him. See, we know Solomon for building the temple, but Solomon built something else, and it made God very mad. And he says, I'm going to tear the kingdom from your hands. In fact, I'm going to do it in the days of your son, but I'm going to take 10 of the tribes and give them to your servant Jeroboam. So in the days of his son Rehoboam gets this bright idea to increase the taxation burden, which was already bad, and the nation divides, splits into two nations. Now we should understand that, being from America, splitting because of taxation. Northern Kingdom, it's made up of 10 of the tribes, called the House of Israel, also called the House of Ephraim or Ephraim, because the largest tribe, that of Ephraim, where the promise of the multitude, remember, is in the Northern Kingdom. The Southern Kingdom, called the House of Judah, made up the tribe of Benjamin and the tribe of Judah. Northern Kingdom, Southern Kingdom. So in the Northern Kingdom, under Jeroboam, he's worried that when people go down to the Southern Kingdom, the House of Judah, to keep the feast, they're going to assimilate back in. So he does a few things. He changes the times of the feast, he changes the place of worship, and he changes the priesthood. And this causes the Levites to go back to the Southern Kingdom, and a faithful remnant who want to do things God's way. So the Northern Kingdom, the House of Israel, Scripture says is in constant harlotry, so God writes them a bill of divorce. You see, in 740 BC, then, Assyria begins to come against them and attack them, and by 720 BC, they've completely taken them captive and dispersed them, driven them out into all the then known world, fulfilling the prophecy of Deuteronomy 28:64. Remember? So meanwhile, down in Judah, they're screwing up as well. So God sends Babylon under Nebuchadnezzar in 586 BC to take them captive and bring them back to Babylon. So they're in Babylon for 70 years, and then the Persian Empire takes over and allows them to go back home. But only a small remnant, like 2 to 5%, actually return to the land. You see, the house of Israel never returned, driven out, furthest points under heaven. You have the house of Judah, a remnant, actually returns to the land of Judea, and they become known then as the Jews, and that's when the Jews began. But what happened to the rest of Israel?